have so many questions about your process for putting the film together, the research, and also your collaboration with one another. Film is obviously a collaborative endeavor, but I feel like Hugh and DK, you collaborate with, as you said, over 100 artists. Can you talk about the process of collaboration as well as the timeline for completing the film?
So basically, we, after the Oscars in 2018, DK gave me the book, and she didn't tell me that she wanted us to make a film of it. She just told me I had to read it. As you saw from before, it's quite a big, thick book. It stayed on my shelf for a while, and then I read it, and I thought it was a masterpiece. I thought it was one of the greatest novels I've ever read, and one of the things about it is that the descriptions in the novel read like it's like someone describing paintings to you. So I was very excited. I phoned up DK and I said we should make it as a film, and she was like, "Yeah, that's why I gave it to you." But she didn't want to prejudice me because she was worried it was too Polish. And for me, I didn't read it like that. I mean, I love all the amazing wedding, the colourful traditions, but for me, I thought it could have been a story that was set in rural England today. I thought it could be set anywhere. Those issues that was being tackled and those relations between people. I felt like it could be today, so I thought it was a beautiful novel, very much like a painting before your eyes, so good for our technique. And also I thought it was just a very moving story that was relevant today because, 120 years on, we're still dealing with this stuff. So anyway, that was how it started. Then we wrote the script, which was challenging because it was a big novel and we had to make it into a not so long film. And then we shot the live action with the actors, and then we put it all together with 2D and CG animation based upon the design paintings done by our head of painting animation, Piotr Domniak, who was also our head of painting on Loving Vincent, and the team under DK's direction. And then once we put it all together, then we assembled 125 painters, and over a course of 2 years, with an average of 5 hours per frame. So if one person was to paint the whole film, it'd take 100 years. But luckily we didn't have one person. We had 125 of them in 4 countries. Every frame pretty much is approved by DK. That's her part of, that's her expertise as a painter. And also, as well as that, she had to be the editor on this project, and that was a big job. So our first cut was 2.5 hours, and we just kept getting it tighter and tighter and tighter until it's the film that you see today.
And I'm curious, just from a technical standpoint, how do you upload paintings? how do you put them together?
Yeah, so the process of painting, it's more you can compare to traditional stop motion animation, because you paint a frame and do the change, take a picture, do the little change and take a picture. So therefore, for example, this painting,
105 paintings.
so you see here, so this is last frame of the shot. So first frame is always the most time-consuming and the hard, because it's establishing first frame, establishing the colors, everything, and it goes through. It takes around 1 week to paint first frame, and then goes through approval, corrections, and I always had corrections. It's not the rule, but unfortunately it happened a lot with me. I always find something to improve. And then after the first frame is approved, you, let's say, move these people tiny little micro millimeter
And also the sky was moving here.
And the sky, and little grass, and things like that. So, and then next take picture, on the camera is here, and take picture, and then...
And they do that 105 times. So
Yeah.
here you can see that there was 105 paintings done on this one canvas.
On one canvas, yeah.
And this one over here, there was 139 paintings that were done on this one canvas, and this is the last frame of the shot.
So even though there was 40,000 paintings done in the film, there are only 3,000 only. Yeah, 3,000 canvases in our magazine in the studio, because
so if
these
anyone
are
wants
the...
a card and wants to buy a painting, we've got a couple of thousand to sell. So come and see me afterwards.
But I think going back to your question about collaboration, I think what is important to add, it's very unusual to collaborate with painters. You know, film is obviously, the beauty of filmmaking is collaboration, and I love it because you get to share work with so many beautiful, talented people. But with painters, they're not used to that, you know, they very... individualists, they work alone usually. So, and all of a sudden, then in this new environment, and they actually have to do something.
What you tell them.
What I tell them. So yeah, that was very, very difficult for process.
And did they then take the photos and send you the photos, or did they ship you the paintings?
It all happens in our studios. So we invented the painting animation workstation so that we can have uniformity with each painter. So, you know, it was a struggle for us during COVID because we couldn't have people working at home like other animation companies could. We need people physically in our painting animation workstations. And so, you know, we had a studio in Sopot in Poland, we had a studio in Lithuania, in Serbia, and in Ukraine. And they all had the same painting animation workstations, which we invented for Loving Vincent so that we could have uniformity. And as you can see, we have VFX markers on the corners, which is so that we can line them up and do the stabilization and the post-production on the paintings after they're painted.
That's awesome. So Luke, how did you get involved in the project, and then what was your research process like for composing traditional Polish folk music?
So basically I was doing rap for 20 years, but I said to myself that when I'm going to be 40, I want to do film scoring. So I'm so happy that I met you guys, because I was just running to this 40 without any perspectives for film, doing so many concerts, rap concerts. So basically we met each other. Hugh and DK had a very great sale for Loving Vincent. So there was this gala of, and they were, you know, like they were there, and I was scoring this gala. So we met each other, we liked each other. But then, yeah, there was a problem because we liked each other, and as you know, like it's not easy to work with each other when we are friends. But yeah, this project was so amazing. So they gave me a chance to score a trailer. They loved it. I was so happy. So they gave me this job. And then it was 4 years of work. I didn't know about it. Yeah, because I joined at the beginning of the project. But it was like one of the most beautiful adventures of my life. I started digging in folk music, obviously. I had this lot of experience because I was never fitted in hip-hop. I was doing like hip-hop albums, but it was like world music hip-hop, jazz hip-hop, classical hip-hop, electronical hip-hop. So it was always not hip-hop for hip-hop people. So I was always outsider. But thanks to this project, for example, I knew how to record accordions. I knew how to work with tubas to make them sound like some, you know, Moog bass oscillator, because all the score in this film is recorded totally and only with historical instruments. There's no Philharmonic Orchestra, there's no electronical music. It's just acoustic music. So that was very hard, but that was our concept. So like Raymond wrote this beautiful book using only simple peasant words and peasant saying, and he built like cathedra, baroque cathedra, like linguistical cathedra. We wanted to do it with the instruments. Take just natural instruments and build out of it like huge, rich film music. So we knew that we're going to go further than just Polish folk music since the beginning. I
just want to add one thing, because for Demented Dance at the end of the wedding, I said to Luke, we want 1990s club music, but done with folk instruments. So, and he did an amazing job with that.
Yeah, and I was so happy with that because, you know, like Hugh gave me this, and DK, they gave me so much freedom in it. And I knew that I want to go somewhere further than Polish folk music, because the previous adaptation of Peasants has this very strict Polish folk music. And I knew that they have these amazing painters from 4 countries, and we have this Rebel Babel film orchestra, which is like playing around the world with musicians around the world. So we involved musicians from Ukraine, Belarus, Poland, building this, you know, bright, big compendium of Slavic music, and that was our goal.
And we were like inspired by Slavic mysticism, and like there's one group that Luke was already working with, Laboratorium Piesny, and you know that kind of new movement was also inspirational for us.
Awesome. And Luke, was there a favorite scene? I love the Cabbage Party music scene, but did you have a favorite scene to compose to?
Oh my God. Like, we have to imagine that it was like 4 years really of work, almost like we had just maybe some small gaps of not working on it. But that's the most funny thing, that, you know, like these 4 years didn't make me bored with this film. Like even I was very tired, extremely tired. Like I made this like 2 days vacation of not seeing it, and then, you know, getting back on Monday and still having fun looking at it. So there are plenty of these, you know, like I really love the scene when the Jagna is, you know, like the bridesmaid song, when she's like, it's very, you know, like very intimate. And I remember this conversation with Hugh, like when they gave me the shot, they want to have something, you know, like choir, beautiful. And I had like, yes, this is going to be the Hobbit song, like the dwarves were singing there. It's going to be this. I always wanted to do that. And finally, yeah, and we do that. So my inspiration was the Hobbit, for example, in this scene. And I had a lot of fun, you know, all these years, and so much respect. I remember when I was coming to DK, and we were talking about music, and she was saying, okay, look, just a minute, because I have to go and accept the painting. And I said, okay. So she was leaving, she was coming back, and then 5 minutes of talk, excuse me, look, I have to go accept the painting. And I realized that she's accepting, you know, like 70 or 80,000 frames of this film. So, you know, make some applause for her, because she was accepting all the frame in the film. Do you know such a directors? Yeah, that was crazy. We are a bunch of crazy people.
I want to remind you about the favorite music, because do you remember Elevation Dance first version you sent us?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, because I was doing like hip hop music and I was writing lyrics for many years, but I didn't have space to show my emotions with hip hop, and here it came, and I could, you know, share my emotions with my you know, love experience, some disaster love experience. So yeah, Elevation Dance was probably one of the most sensual and emotional for me.
You recorded yourself dancing.
Yeah,
sent it to us on WhatsApp, and
it's
like,
Dance
guys,
with Other
it's
Men.
gonna be like this.
Yeah, it was Dance with Other Men. Yeah, because I said it was like dancing in the studio. It will be like this, like 3/4, like woo, do, 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 because I really felt it. I don't know what happened. It's weird.
Yay. DK and Hugh, did you take artistic inspiration or influence for the visuals from a certain time period or movement?
Yes, we the movement is called Young Poland, and mainly, and it's the same time as the Raymond was writing the novel. So it was very, and also that movement. The painters painted a lot of these bucolic, beautiful village life, and so therefore, even when I was listening to the Peasants, because I listened to the audiobook when I was painting a shot for Loving Vincent, and I was listening to, because I love listening to audiobooks when I do something that allows you to, of course, and I think that combination of listening to the book and the painting process, this whole sparkle, the whole idea. But when I was listening to it, I was imagining the paintings, because, you know, they are so iconic in Polish sort of, especially for me. Because as a filmmaker, my background is in fine arts, so I study this for 10 or 12 years almost.
And as well as young Polar movement, we took inspiration more widely from the realist painting movement across the whole of Europe and North America.
Yeah, there's even 2 paintings, Jean-François Millet.
And there's a Danish painting in there, but I can't remember the painter. But yeah, so we have direct references to like 34 paintings, and 31 of them are Polish.
But the painting weren't never the reason for the scenes. It was always the other way around. While in Loving Vincent, the paintings were the base for the script, because we had these particular portraits, and we knew that these characters.
Yeah, we wrote the script around the paintings,
Yeah,
whereas
and
in this case, it was just when we could, then we wanted to include these beautiful paintings if we could.
Mm-hmm. And that reminds me to ask, was there an evolution in your approach or technique from working on Loving Vincent to this film? Like, did you learn what worked, what didn't work, and then want to improve in some way?
Yeah, this one was 3 times more difficult. So the average frame for Loving Vincent was 2.5 hours. This was 5 hours because the realism, the level of detail, but also, we had a rule on Loving Vincent is that we only move the camera like for transition scenes, because at the time it took us just so long to do that. And DK was like, this time, Hugh, we get to move the camera. So we wanted it, which was appropriate for this story. We wanted to be right inside the battles, the dances, the fights in the house, and so we had to learn how to paint moving camera.
Yeah, but the moving camera, painting moving camera, took 2 or 3 times longer than static shots. So while we were shooting on the set, producer Sean Bobbitt was standing very often next to me and whispering like, "Are you sure? Do we have to move this camera?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sorry, we have to. They're dancing." So yeah,
he gave up on about day 5.
So what's next for the film, and what's next for each of you?
So it's going out in the cinemas all around the world. I think it's coming out next year in a general release in the US. And in terms of what we're doing next is me and DK are going to do one more oil painting film, but this time it's going to be combined with CG animation rather than with live actors, and it's going to be set 140,000 years ago in Africa.
And Luke, what's next for you?
Basically, we are preparing the concerts, which will be showing how this film was created. So it's going to be concert with some kind of making of, showing the time lapses of the paintings of this 4 year of extreme work. Beautiful concerts, like when we mix folk ensemble with symphonic music as well, with full symphonic orchestra. We didn't have the chance to do it in the film, but now we're going to do it in concerts. And then we'll see. Probably, I feel I want to stay in film music, definitely, because there's so many synchronized, great things happened thanks to getting to this world that I finally feel that I found family. Did you see that? Like so many Fs. Yeah, I feel I found family. So thanks, guys.
Film family.